Alright, I guess we're recording. And this is the first GIF probably ever made in Minecraft. It's a nice little game of Pong. The way I did this was I basically made frames back here. Each of them basically corresponds to one frame of the video, and this minecart, for this I'm just running an execute command at any minecart to run a clone command that basically envelops one single frame, basically from here up to here, and as the minecart moves, it clones this frame, then this one, and so on until it reaches this command block, which teleports it back to the start. So what this does is basically I can draw out the movements of the two paddles and the ball and have the minecart run, which results in a small GIF like this. Now, since it's running from the minecart and it doesn't need any kind of activator rails or anything, as long as the end of this minecart rail is loaded so that this command block can teleport the minecart back to the start, and the minecart entity is loaded, this GIF can be expanded basically infinitely. And so this is the resultant product. Now you can change the color of the borders by changing the color of the walls. You can change the color of the ball by changing the color of this ball's path. For example, if I were to take yellow concrete and replace this ball with some yellow concrete so that it's actually easier to see in the setup area. Now with this you can make movement, you can make things grow and shrink. I can demonstrate that later. But essentially you can do just about anything with this. Just like you would with any normal video editor, you would just make each frame instead of putting together video. But here you can see that the ball is yellow, and I can change one side to purple and one side to red. So basically all this does is it takes this area and it moves it over here to be shown on this screen. And it's really that simple. Now GIFs don't have sound, but if you wanted to add note blocks and comparators probably here, so that it played a different note block every time it passed, that might be possible. I don't know too much about note blocks or how they work, but could be possible if you really worked on it. But basically, all you have to do is you just have to build out each of these frames, and then you run the minecart and it plays the GIF. Now the minecart is running while I build this GIF, so if we go over here, you'll actually see that one paddle is fully purple, but this one flashes between red and black, depending on where in the GIF it is. So if I were to do this, it would actually look like it flashed red every time this hit it. So 3 frames should be enough. So if I just do red here, it will look like every time the ball hits it, the paddle takes damage. In fact, it might actually be slightly shorter. Let's see how that looks. Might even just be 1 frame. Now, frames aren't always exactly the same length. You can see that by how the ball sometimes pauses a little bit longer in certain areas. This is just because a minecart doesn't have a constant speed, especially when it's teleporting backwards. You see how when it teleports backwards it slows down and then gains speed. I'm pretty sure that's just a visual glitch, but the first couple of frames are a little bit slower. than the last couple of frames. And then if I just grab like green concrete and fill in the rest of this, we'll have a GIF with a yellow ball, a purple paddle, and a green paddle, and they take damage every time it hits the paddle. Now you can do a lot of stuff with this. I played around with a couple of things. This was the nicest looking one. So yeah, now see, that is actually a little bit slower for some reason. So if I were to do this, and this, and of course it's lit up back here, so if you want to light up the front, you can. And don't worry about breaking the GIF. Breaking it here doesn't change the GIF at all in the back. So next time it loops, it'll just have the same frame that you broke. And there we go. Alright.